I'd like to invite Jeff Littman to join us. Jeff, of course, is the godfather of clinical PK/PD, I think we could say. This particular research program is something that he pioneered 30 years ago, and I'm probably taking away some of your messages, but essentially it's something you should be complimented on, your tenacity in your vision to take it from something which was something just out of a laboratory, translating it into patient care, taking it through various rounds of research studies into a massive research program, as you're about to present on, and to demonstrate something which saves patients' lives. And so you should be congratulated for that, and that's one of the reasons you have the AM next to your name. So thank you very much, Professor Littman, my PhD supervisor, still my mentor, and the godfather of Bling.
Thank you, Jason. I'm not sure I can live up to all of that, but we'll have a bash. So I was given the topic of Bling, a bench to bedside to policy program, and that is true, and I'm going to show you the stepwise progression there. But just as important of that is the take-home messages that I want to give to younger researchers, how to develop a research program which Bling falls into. And the principles I want the take-home message of the program fundamentals rather than Bling itself. It took me 20 years in fact 30 years, to develop it, but it's been crystallized into the following slides. The Canadians do it for blood, NIH does it for ARDS, and the template that I'm going to give can be used for any nutritional compound, any sort of drug, any type of intervention, medical errors, etc. And it's been crystallized very nicely in an Irish intensivist article in 2010, Duncan Macaulay, where he looked at in vitro data. It should be followed by animal data, observational data, human models, proof of concept trial, phase 2 clinical trial, and then a phase 3 clinical trial. And Bling fits into that nicely, and I just took his article to illustrate how his article illustrated what we've done indirectly and directly with Bling. So to build a research program and optimize beta-lactams is what the program's about, and it started from in vitro data from Bill Craig's unit in 1980s, I think, and nicely summarized in 1998, looking at the kill characteristics of the beta-lactams, and in effect, over here, if that's colony-forming units growing and you add a bit of ticagrelin, there'll be some kill, but you need a certain concentration to optimize kill, as against the aminoglycosides, where increasing the concentration increases the kill immediately. So the in vitro data suggests that the bolus dosing may be better obtained by a higher MIC. And animal work in rats did the same. So I did a sabbatical in Hong Kong in 1994, and that's the first time I could measure beta-lactams. And we measured 10 patients in ICU, and we found that some patients had very low levels at the end of a dosing interval. We then took those characteristics and predicted what a continuous infusion would look like. We subsequently randomized 20 patients into continuous infusion and bolus dosing and found that that prediction model was correct. So we could give, with higher serum levels, a continuous infusion. When I came here, Jason and I started a ceftriaxone study looking at bolus dosing versus continuous infusion, and for various political reasons it was stopped early. But we had a composite outcome that suggested better outcomes with continuous infusion. We also did a meta-analysis at that stage showing that continuous infusion, well, wasn't really proven at that stage. You can see that the various confidence intervals are crossing the one line. We then, Joel was in the audience here, he's now Director of Research here, but we then, Joel Delhunty and a group of us, looked at vignettes asking the Australians what they use for various scenarios, and those are the antibiotics that were used in Australia in 2010. We also gave them vignettes asking, would you use continuous infusion, and how many of you do use continuous infusion? And we looked at utilization amongst 37 Australian New Zealand ICUs. So we set up the BLING study with that prelim data, looking at point prevalence in 4 of the top 5 ICUs, and we really looked at, we found that there was low utilization of continuous infusion. So we set up the pilot study of BLING. And the pilot study was really to see whether we could do it feasibly, whether we could differentiate the plasma levels, which was a no-brainer. At that stage, we thought we would blind everything, so we looked at adequacy of blinding and looked at the endpoints for a phase 2 study. And I think Hong Kong was involved in this, it's one of the 5 sites that enrolled 12 patients. And then we showed we could do it, and that there was a separation in the 2 arms, surprisingly. But that allowed us to look at BLING 2. Now that became a multi-center from 5 units to, I think, 28 units, from 60 patients to 420 blinded study. And the 3 big antibiotics across Australia and New Zealand were beta-lactams, were piperacillin, tazobactam, meropenem, and ticagrelor. So we looked at blinding any one of those 3 drugs, really to see whether we could adequately dose, whether we could determine any endpoints for a phase 3 trial. As I said, it went from 60 to 420, it went from 5 to 28 sites, and we had various endpoints that are not important but were there. Broke my heart to see this survival curve where there was minimal benefit of continuous infusion over bolus dosing. We took the difference there and asked the question, what is a clinically relevant sample size to show benefit of continuous infusion? And it came out at 7,000. And I remember going to Jan at a European Society meeting in 2015 or 2016, said, how would you think of becoming involved in the 7,000 patient study? And he looked at me. I could see him thinking I'm mad. We also at that stage did the individual patient meta-analysis and showed some possible benefit there. So now on this Dan McCauley's graph, we've got the phase 2 clinical trial that allows us to go into the phase 3 clinical trial. And that was BLING. And there we went to New Zealand. So we got NHMRC money. We went to New Zealand. They got their equivalent of NRC money. We got onto the NIHR portfolio in the UK. Jan did it in Belgium. And then we got France and Sweden involved in the trial. And I think Mark Coulthard at the back there asked me how much did it cost. Probably the back of an envelope, I worked out $20 million. So we published 2 papers. Jan had them both up there, and Hafiz's contribution with the SRMA showed that you needed to treat 26 patients with severe sepsis to save an extra life. So whatever your mortality is across the 104 ICUs, and the other trial data show, in the 7,000 patient study, we showed you needed to treat 50 patients to save a life. With a meta-analysis and other studies, it turned out that you need to, with continuous infusion, you need to treat 26 patients to save 1 extra life above your standard mortality. So the take-home messages or a stepwise program of research often helps and is a good way of looking at things. As I said, the Canadians do it with blood and ARDS. It should be used in any template for research. And with that, I thank you for the time and attention.
Thanks, Jeff. That's a very efficient summary of 30 years of work. And as you can see, he hasn't stopped thinking about that issue, that solving it with research, not even to update his slide background. So that looks 30 years old as well. I've used that joke quite a few times with him. So that was great. Thank you, Jeff.